Hello, everybody. I'm Sean's Mapping or the Sultanate Empire. And in today's video, we are going to be continuing What If Civilization Started Over. Let's get into today's video. In today's video, we are going to be focusing in on Australia. If you did not see the last episode, I suggest you go check it out as we discovered Australia and a bit more of the Russian Siberian area. And, it was a really interesting video, so I suggest you guys go check it out if you haven't already. Now, we will be seeing a couple countries expand, we will see some new countries get formed. For example, we will be seeing this country expand like so, down to their neighbor down here, taking all of this land right over here. We will be seeing this country do some expansion as well as they kind of expand down into that area right over there, meeting up with their neighbor to the north. We will be seeing as the pink boyos right up here do expand as well, like this, and actually meet up with Silver's colony right over here. We will also be seeing these guys expand from right over here, more inland, taking all of this land right here. Now, let us look at the countries that are going to be popping up and Silver's colonial expansion. In 3, 2, and 1. And alrighty, here we are with the new Australia, where we have several countries appearing, Silver expanding, and also the pink team right up here expanding into the archipelago islands as well. Now, Silver does, well, not Silver, but the Australian countries do begin exploration, not the newer ones, but the ones that were already on Australia. They begin exploring out into the waters this way, looking for more islands. The pink team does find even more islands, which they are very happy about, and then eventually they discover New Zealand. And when they make landfall on New Zealand, it's rather quite shocking, as New Zealand is currently locked in a heated civil war between North and South New Zealand. North New Zealand and South New Zealand, from what the Australians can determine and figure out, are absolutely bitter enemies, as it is separated between the Northern House and the Southern House of the royal family. Basically, the royal family has two branches of the New Zealand Empire. That's what they were called before the Civil War. It was the New Zealand Empire, and the royal house had two separate family branches, a sub branch and then the main branch. The north, which holds the sub branch, and the south, which holds the main branch. So, whichever house wins will determine the political standing of New Zealand to the rest of the world. The sub branch wants to be isolationist for several years, whereas the main branch of the royal house wants to be involved in geopolitical things going on around the world. But that is not the only country dwelling into civil war. Another country that ends up dissolving and dwelling into civil war is a country that has been around for a while, and that really you would not expect to be going into a civil war, and that country is Moldova. let's look at where these rebels appear and what this civil war is going to look like in the first place. In three, two, and one. And alrighty, here we are. Now, this is most concerning as this is one of Ender's allies that helped defeat the French in the Great European War. With them going into a civil war is not a good thing. However, the Moldovans are no push around as they were one of the stronger countries in Europe after the war and after all of the expansion that they did. Now, no one really knows the details on why this rebellion or civil war is even going on, but one can only assume it's due to the Moldovan royal family. And that is the fact that the current king of Moldova just passed away, but he had two sons who were twins. They were born 5 seconds apart from one another, so no one knows who to make king. We can only assume that this civil war may or may not have something to do with that. Or maybe it doesn't, and this is a completely different thing involving the disappearances happening in Serbia. Serbia? Siberia. Sorry, Siberia. Happening in Siberia. Now, Ender must make a decision whether or not he's going to aid his ally or let his ally fight their own internal war. Because, like I said, this may be one of the more important allies for Ender because it prevented the Aegean from ever getting involved in the war and actually probably making the war even worse for their alliance and possibly making them lose the war in its entirety. But the rebels are able to push and take all of these areas, and connect up their separated cells to one another. So the two northern ones are able to connect up and capture two more major cities, like so. The two southern ones are able to connect up, capturing multiple major cities. The northern ones push like this. But eventually, each side is stopped, leaving it looking like this one long corridor as a front line. Now, Ender needs to move fast as Anatolia and Italy are already sending aid over to their ally right over here. Aid is already arriving in terms of money and volunteer troops that are arriving in country to help. But Ender's the main factor since he actually borders. Anatolia would send even more help. See, Anatolia is only sending money because there's the Aegean and then there's also the Egyptians who want land from Anatolia, and then there's this country up here, which is the Black Sea Caspian Sea Empire, or this empire right here, who wants land from the Anatolians as well, so they need to keep their military on alert and ready at all times. Italy, however, not fearing any country over here and the fact that they're friends with Ender and Germany, plans and does in fact send military troops over here to this area. Now, this, if is not handled quickly, could spiral out of control, leading to the creation of a bunch new countries over in this general area right over here. Now we are going to go over down into uh, the Caspian area as we are going to see a war take place. This war involves this country right here. This brownish, grayish country, which is to the north, which is fairly big, uses their exclaves to make an invasion of this purplish country right over here, like so, taking all of this land and all of these areas right over here. This country quickly falls over to them. But that is not the only war we see. The Orange Team, a country which is primarily just exclaves, decides to use this little distraction of war to commence their own little invasion, quickly seizing the capital of the of the Yellow Country, and quickly the Yellow Country falls over to them, like so. So the peace treaties of these two wars are going to look something as simple as this, with these two countries pretty much just gaining all of this new territory, like so. Like so. But we do see something else, and that is this country right over here start to gain heightened tensions with Branch and also this blue country right down here and this green one right over here as the red team begins to gain heightened tensions with Branch's ally and the blue country right down there. Now we will be going back down to Africa for one primary reason, and that is the fact that the red team has just declared war on the light blue team once again. I swear, it's almost like every 5 episodes these two countries will go to war with each other. They absolutely despise each other, bro. It's like sometimes I don't even know if I'm doing it on purpose or if it just happens. Like I don't even control what happens. You know, I mean, it is civilization. Humanity will do what humanity feels is best for its people. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But we do see the red team quickly push into these areas like so, taking all of this. And in the middle of the war, we do see unification of the Red Empire, which looks something like this, with the red team unifying with the last two remaining countries that are independent in the Red Empire's formable areas, which means the red team also does get their colonies over here as well. Speaking of colonies, the red team pretty much completely and utterly secure the blue team's colony over here. Now, the blue team does in fact fight back as they're able to push the red team completely out on this front over here, and they're actually able to do a counter invasion of the red team over in this region. No, they're not going to invade themselves. I said they're going. There we go. They're going to do a counter invasion of the red team looking something like this, invading into all of these areas like so. But eventually, just like in the previous video with the Arabian Holy Roman Empire or the Holy Roman Empire or the Holy Arabian Empire and the Egyptians, the war is going to come to a stalemate for about 2 years. And then each side is just going to agree to sign a white peace because honestly, this war has gotten people nowhere. However, for this deal to even go through, the blue team has to give up their colonial holding in Madagascar after a about 2 year stalemate. They have to give up their colonial holding in Madagascar. And well, they agree to that. They agree to those terms. So we see the blue team gain all of their territory back in the mainland, and the red team also gains land over in Madagascar, which is just the previous colony, giving them half of Madagascar. Well, most of Madagascar actually, and having the biggest colony on Madagascar as well. Let us move on to some more exploration and expansion. First, we will look at expansion. The first expansion we will be seeing is from the Russians, as the Russians, not learning from last time, do yet again another major expansion, looking something like this. And I mean, when I say they learned nothing from last time, I mean they literally learned nothing from last time. They did a major expansion, so they piss even more people off this time. Because not only did they do another major expansion, they didn't listen to their population and they did another major expansion. So, yeah, we will actually be seeing some war take place over here in Japan. And, well, this war is going to look simply like this. This country is going to take this country. This blue one is going to take this one. And then this one is going to take this one. So this is what the wars here in Japan look like, with all of these countries winning due to the fact that all of these countries were being supported by the Southern Koreans in their wars, which means they were guaranteed to win from the start. Now, let us look at some wars taking place in the Korean Peninsula. First things first, we have the Southern Koreans completely and utterly uniting the Southern Peninsula, well, the southern part of the Korean Peninsula, like so. We have this Korean country completely and utterly uniting the central Korean countries. Then we have this green one right up here taking over this one right down here. Then we have this one right down here, no longer being a landlocked nation as they take over this area right over there. Now, after all of this warring, we will probably see a couple, like we'll probably see some era of peace in Korea come um, as each nation builds up their newly claimed territory and assimilates all of the people there. But, anyways, let us move to a lot more peaceful matters of exploration. Exploration of what, you may be asking? Well, exploration of Greenland. Because who doesn't love exploring Greenland? You know what I mean? Who doesn't love exploring Greenland? Well, the Vikings don't love it because it is cold as a monkey's butt up here. And I wish to you I was joking, but it is cold as a monkey's butt up in Greenland. And let me just say, the Vikings, the Norwegians, they don't really appreciate that. You know, They don't appreciate that much. They really don't. They don't appreciate that coldness that they're receiving from Mother Nature up here. So they kind of stop their exploration and have their explorers kind of go back home because they find out it's honestly not worth it. However, they do kind of explore the waters in the um, ocean a lot more, where it's a lot warmer and they're not going to freeze their butts off like monkeys in a tundra, something like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, go down beneath the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, well, that's fine. You can still hit the dislike button if you would like, if you didn't enjoy it. But if you did, I suggest you subscribe so you can be notified anytime I upload. I'm Sean's Mapping, or the Sultanate Empire. I hope you beautiful ladies and gentlemen enjoy the rest of your day or night wherever you may be, wherever you may live. And I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. See ya!